about the Not Too Young to Run.
Yes.
Which the act is still there.
The act is
so
there.
all of a sudden, everybody was cheering for that big act, saying that it is a good way, it's a good step in the right direction. And that's why you had a lot of youth who now came up. So at that time, are you saying that at the time, we're all cheering for a youth should come up, but now we're looking at mentorship?
Yes, let me tell you this. You see, Not Too Young to Run bill to me has played one significant and important role. And I don't expect it to play bigger than that role. That role was awakening the youth to see politics as an important part of their life. Not just watching music and shows and Big Brother Niger, but also politics. That awakening was actually one of the great achievements of Not Too Young to Run. But it can't go beyond that.
Oh,
why?
Really?
Yes. Because for you to lead in Nigeria, you need to be in a very strong politically established system. And for you to be in a politically established system, you have to work towards it. It's not just something because there is an act of the law, you now become a governor. It doesn't work that way.
All right, viewers, welcome back. A stalwart of the All Progressive Congress, APC, Adamu Garba, says the Central Bank of Nigeria owes Nigerians an apology over the widespread scarcity and ensuing travails resulting from its Naira swap policy. Following the redesign of 200 Naira, 500 Naira and 1,000 Naira banknotes in November 2022, Nigerians deposited their old currencies in line with the initial January 31st deadline, which the Apex Bank later extended to February 10th. However, an interim injunction granted by the Supreme Court of Nigeria restrained the Central Bank of Nigeria from carrying out the implementation. Now, you recall Mr. Adamu Garba contested for the presidency under the All Progressive Congress, but later decamped from the party, given the reason that the party has lost its moral bearings and has drifted from its core values. He decamped to the Young Progressive Congress, where he continued the race, but later opted out of the presidential race and returned back again to the APC. Mr. Adamu Garba is my guest on the show tonight. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to The Conversation. If you just joined us, this is The Conversation, and we're reaching you from KAFTAN's television studio here in the nation's capital, Abuja. And I will go straight to our chat for tonight. As our guest on the show today is Adamu Garba. He is the Deputy Director, Media, Tinubu Shetima Independent Campaign Council. It's great to have you on the show again.
Thank you very much for having me.
Awesome. Now, let me start by asking you, what exactly happened? Why did you pull out of the presidential race? You went from APC to YPP, and then all of a sudden you want out. Does it actually mean that you did not do comprehensive background check before thinking of actually going in for that big position?
No. I went for the same position in 2019, and I went to the end. So the fact that I pull out on 2023 means that there is something, and that thing is Asiwaju Bola Tinubu.
Really?
If Tinubu is on the ticket, I think I will commit a political crime against the future of Nigeria to be on the same ticket with him. So the best solution is to let him fly, because I know that he has everything it takes to address all the challenges of the contemporary Nigeria of now. So the best solution is to let him go. And you know, we have this normal arrangement in Nigeria where leadership twists between the North and the South, and the fact that he clinched the ticket of our party. No need. So I have to come back to the party, because initially why I even left was because I don't believe in so many things that the party was doing in terms of the promise of leadership moving to the South, and in terms of hiking the price of form that obliterate the young people. So I move out. But immediately I saw that the great reformer, somebody who believed in the cause of the future of Nigeria, the young generation, and everything that I care about, is now holding the ticket of the party. I have to come back. That's why I'm back.
But then he has been there ever since. In fact, he has always said that that's his lifetime ambition. So it means he has been there over time, even before you left. So how come all of a sudden?
You know, as at that moment, there were a threat to that particular his position. There were so many conspiracy theories to deny him opportunity to get the ticket of the party. You know, so many of us that are his ardent supporters felt we don't have any stake in this place no more. So we have to pull out. So on pulling out, we noticed that somehow, using his own kind of natural gift of genius, somehow through providence and through some of his deep level push, he came and won. So we the young people thought that, oh, there's something to learn more here. Maybe we didn't learn very much more. So I have to come back quickly. So let's do this thing. Now our party has regained its soul. The main leader, the driver of the Nigerian progressivism, is now holding the flag of the APC. Where should I go to?
So does it mean that you never knew that, or you never believed that he was going to win in the primary?
Frankly speaking, there is practically, I think, if you take APC members as at that time, nearly 70% didn't believe, because there were serious gang up against his candidacy. And he won anyway. So that's exactly the situation.
So why did you decide to contest when he was also on the ballot?
Yeah, no, he's not yet on the ballot that time, but now he's on the ballot. So, and I'm not. Yes.
But then, this isn't the first time that you will be contesting like you talked about.
Yes.
So, does it actually mean that all the time that position didn't actually favor you, and you didn't, since it didn't favor you, so you actually didn't pull out of you didn't put all of this into proper perspective, even considering the fact that, according to you at the time, a lot of people contributed their hard-earned money to support your cause? Because I remember you kept giving update on how much how much you have received from a lot of contributors and a lot of support that you've gotten for the nomination form. So didn't you put all of this in proper perspective then?
You see, one of the biggest mistakes that we young people do is lack of the courage to try. Because if you don't try, you won't learn. So that's what I'm doing. Let me get in. I want to be the president. What does it take? And I can tell you now that the kind of experience I amassed as a young man at the age of 40, I don't think in Nigeria there is any young man that have that kind of experience politically. Because I dare to try. I dare to converse with so many people. I dare to get so much experience. I dare to understand that this thing can actually work, but until you put the necessary structures. And what are these structures? These structures, you can't get them until you try. So these are the things. And when I got the monies, I turned them back to almost nearly everybody that gave me. In fact, most of the donors were my friends.
Oh, so
between me and my friends.
You returned the money?
I returned all the monies. In fact, most of the donors are my friends. 83 million was donated by my friends. I had my own 20 million naira there. And the remaining 63 were donated by my friends. When we publish online to get solicitation and donation from the people, we got just 120,000, or a little bit above that.
Oh, really?
And then we turned it back, yes. And I published the account statement for everybody to see that, look, this is the total amount of money that was donated. Some people are giving 1 naira, some people are giving 5 naira. Be that as we appreciate it, but the summation of all the monies that were donated online was 125,000 naira. But the remaining 83 million was actually donated in my own office by my friends, which I called them back and then turned their monies back. I said, we have a lot to learn, but at least we've gotten more experience than people that don't try. So let's keep pushing. We will be. But this may not be our time, but our time will come.
When will your time come?
Let's assure you finish his 8 years.
Oh, so you're actually looking at 8 years.
Sure,
so that means you're not going back to the ballot next after 4 years.
As long as the Siwaju is on the ticket, I will wait.
Interesting.
Until he asks me to come, Adamu, come and do it. I am not doing it again. But if he's doing it again, I'm behind him.
I hear you say that you're looking forward to him staying for 8 years. And I recall when we had this conversation, one other of your reason for leaving is because we're looking for a party that embraced the youth. Yeah. And I recall we talked about the not too young to run. Yeah. And then you were all cheered up, say that it is youth o'clock. Yeah. Now, if you said you're about 40 years and then you're a youth, you're ready to go to the ring, and all of a sudden you turn your back and then you are not cheering for another youth. You say, no, it has to be Asiwaju Bola Ahmed Tinubu who has passed that age. Why?
Asiwaju, number one, has a ticket. Number two is that there is no politician today in the history of Nigeria that build young people than Asiwaju Bola Ahmed Tinubu.
Okay, so it is no longer let youth go. Let us get someone who builds the youth. Is that what it is?
The problem of the young people is that they are constantly not carried along in the system. So when you are not carried along, you create your path to build yourself. But the situation whereby you have somebody, a shoulder to lean onto, to be able to be properly mentored, guided, positioned, you go there. That's what Asiwaju did when he was the governor of Lagos. When he ascended the leadership of Lagos in 1999, what was the age of somebody like Governor Fashola then? What was the age of Ambode or Sanwo-Olu that has been with him since? What about the age of the Vice President of the Federal Republic of Nigeria? What about Ben Akabwezi, the DG of the Budget Office? What about all those people? How old were they? Wale Edu, Jide Idris, Abafemi Hamzat, Shashore. What were their ages? They were all young people between the age of 30s and 40s. In fact, there was a very young man, Senator Tokumbo Afikiomi, who became the youngest senator in the history of Nigeria in 1999, at the age of 30s. So you need to imagine this. So he believes in the young people. He always finds a way to position the young people for greatness. All of them are still together with him. And all of them have realized their potential and they are giving back immensely to the development of the country. This is the kind of personality we need. So our problem is lack of mentorship and proper mainstreaming. And there we have a man that his entire belief is mainstreaming the younger generation for the future. That's what Asiwaju believes in.
So
that's
what
he has been doing.
You've actually not answered my question. I was still talking about the not too young to run.
Yes.
Which the act is still there.
The act is
so
there.
All of a sudden, everybody was cheering for that big act, saying that it is a good way, it's a good step in the right direction. And that's why you had a lot of youth who now came up. So at that time, are you saying that at the time, we're all cheering for a youth should come up, but now we're looking at mentorship?
Yes, let me tell you this. You see, not too young to run bill to me has played one significant and important role. And I don't expect it to play bigger than that role. That role was awakening the youth to see politics as an important part of their life. Not just watching music and shows and Big Brother Niger, but also politics. That awakening was actually one of the great achievements of Not Too Young to Run. But it can't go beyond that.
Oh,
why?
Really?
Yes. Because for you to lead in Nigeria, you need to be in a very strong politically established system. And for you to be in a politically established system, you have to work towards it. It's not just something because there is an act of the law, you now become a governor. It doesn't work that way. You have to get into political party. You have to understand the political party machinery, structure of political party, administration of political party, hierarchy of political party, and then participate actively to be trusted by the members of the political party to be able to elect you to head that particular party using their ticket to emerge and win political power. So it's another whole game. It's another process entirely.
So that means
but
it's actually a long process. It's not just go from somewhere and just go straight to position.
Exactly. So young people don't understand. Even myself then, I don't. Even myself, I don't. So we just say, young to young to run bill in 2019. We now came out. I want to be the president.
At what point did you now realize?
It was later that I came to realize when I began to move around to consult elder statesmen to seek their advice. They will look at you and say, you have great potential. You are a very, very, very important asset to the future of this country. But I advise you to look into the procedure. Who are you in your ward? Did your chairman of your party in your ward knows your existence? Now, this is the first question. The second question again, what about the chairman? Okay, so which committee do you belong to in your ward? What have you even done there in that your ward that shows that you are actually, when we trust you with the leadership of this country, you can actually perform? So these are the nitty-gritties that we have to go to that basement to be able to recalibrate and re-engineer your own political machine. So you can't just come from the top. And I began to say, but that is even more commonsensical. It's very, very commonsensical. Why? Because I need to be there. Because if I'm not there, how am I going to the top? So I began to look at it and immediately went back to my hometown. Immediately after the primary election, went back to my hometown, start participating, doing a lot of things. And it was even from the same ward that I was supported for this, my second time coming. When I said I want to go for the 2023, my ward supported me. My state, some of them were behind me, some of them were not, especially the elderly. The younger people are, our man is there, But again, I know that we might not win, but we will try to know more. And through that process, we were able to meet serious, important country stakeholders to understand how did the country work? How was it? What was the history behind what and what and what? And how can we do it as young people? What is it that we have missed that you guys have that you didn't tell us that I'm here now, tell me. I have ambition to rule this country. It might not be now, It might be in the future, but I am here wanting to be now. If I get your blessing and I get the buy-in of the Nigerian voters, but at least tell me what is happening. And they all advise. General IBB took his time to advise me extensively. General Gusau listened to me deeply and gave me a lot of advice. General Nyako was with me extensively. We spoke and he gave me so many things about Nigerian agriculture that I never imagined they exist. And so many of the important individuals in this country, I moved to different places to listen to our elder statesmen, to advise me on what about this country. So these are the kind of things you will get. You understand, when you try. But when you don't try, you don't. And another thing again, which is one of the most important things, is to show the youth that there is a future in Nigeria. Don't just look at the old people and say that maybe it ends with them. We are also coming up. We are also capable. We can also do it together. So when their time is gone, there is continuity, there is succession.
When will their time be gone if we keep hearing since the days of my great-grandmother, they keep telling them that they are the future leaders of tomorrow? And up until today, we still keep hearing that word. So when is the time of the youth?
The reason is that they didn't try. No one can drag you and give you leadership. You must go and try. You must contest it. That's the thing. But most people, they will relax in the school. They will tell you that, you see, youth, you are the future leaders of tomorrow, and everybody will carry it on their shoulder that is the future leader of tomorrow. They are all waiting for the leadership to come and descend on their head. It can't. You must go and try. And that's what I did. I tried, and I'm trying, and it's pushing me in. I'm very close to them. I understood so many things. Sometimes I even influence some important policies, and it works for the country. So you have to try. You can't just sit down behind the seat and expect somebody to just come and give you leadership. So that's the mistake that we are doing. So you can only be a leader of tomorrow when you try today. Even when you have the older generations there. Yes, you can try side by side. You have to try today. Yes, in fact, leadership is usually a hybrid process. You can't eliminate a generation that has built itself when you were not born to be where they are that time. By the time I was young, maybe let's assume I was born 1982, right? So some people have been building themselves to be leaders of Nigeria that 1982. And because I am now also mature, I should go and contest with them for the effort they have been building all their lives from that 1982 till that very moment that I met them. It's not possible. I spent my entire career trying to understand myself, while throughout that moment they're building themselves to be leaders. So it's not just by sheer accident that they find themselves where they are. No, most of them actually do work for it. Most of these politicians that we come sometimes and condemn when we're behind our screens on the TV and other things, and maybe on the Twitter and Facebook, when you come very close to them, you see this man has committed effort from every angle of his life to be where he is. Somebody like Governor Ganduje, for example, of Kano State, this man was in the civil service. From the junior rank, he rose up to the point of director during the military era. Come in 1999, he was the deputy governor. And when they lost election in 2003, he now followed the then governor who became the minister and became his SA. From that SA, he was sent to the Chad Commission. And they came back again in 2015, he became a deputy governor. He is now a governor. Just imagine this journey. And how do you imagine to just come one time and display this guy, he's just an opportunist? It's not possible. He has been there since when he was very young, since when he was where you are now. So for you to be where he is now, tomorrow, you have to start now. Oh. So that's exactly how it is. Now,
is that actually why you, let me use your word, redecamped to the APC? And you said, and quote, "Yes, I am fully back to APC. I could do more harm to my country, Nigeria, if I did not support a combination of great strategist and a great tactician on a single ballot." That's one question. Is that why you redecamped? And then secondly, was it shortly after you redecamped that you got the position of the Deputy Director Media, Tinubu?
No, in fact, the time I redecamped back to APC, these words that you rightly mentioned is the same thing I mentioned here too. But the getting of the Deputy Director of Media of Tinubu Shetima Grassroots Independent Campaign Council, the ICC, came just recently at the constitution of the campaign council.
Yes, because I was wondering, we only know about PCC and all of a sudden we hear ICC.
No.
So was this when you came in that they formed that?
No, ICC has been there. Basiru Tinubu has always won his election through ICC. In every election he do, there is always this arrangement where it faces the general public, which is the PCC, and there's always a grassroots arrangement. Like what's in the ICC, our target is to make sure that in every ballot box in Nigeria, every polling unit, we have a structure. And that's what we are doing. Our only target is to make sure we win the election. So we are grassroots based. So we don't come to put many signages and make a lot of noise. We are talking to the people one-on-one, door-to-door campaign strategy. So that's what we do. And that's strategy that Asiwaju always employed in all his elections. So, and I got the deputy directorship, I think 2 months ago. That was, let's say, in December. And I redecamped in May, right? Or June, around May. So if I recap around and I got it in December, so it's not actually immediately.
Now, I recall that one of the, in fact, one of the strongest reasons why you left APC was because of the expensive nomination ticket that they sold at the time. And I will quote what you said. You said that the party has lost its moral bearings, and you further said that the APC has drifted from the core values. Why did you actually see that as an issue then? And all of a sudden, you now redecamped, and now you see that same party as the messiah. I'm not talking about the individual carrying the party. I'm talking about the party itself.
Yes. Why? Because you see, party is an institution. And institutions are governed by actually individuals. That's what it is. So at the time, the party lost its moral bearing, because the root of every foundation of political party, especially APC, was the common man, mainstreaming of the people that are completely outside the circle. The poor man who cannot be able to talk, and also the younger people that have been obliterated for so long, mainstreaming them. And that is why in 2015, it was predominantly a youth revolution that brought the APC to power, and even continued in 2019. So a situation whereby a policy within the same party was crafted to still continue these exclusionary practices was wrong, is and against the moral bearing of that party. And that's why that time I went against it. Again, while I was condemning it, so many people within the party are doing the same. Many people are not happy with the hike in the price of the form. Eventually, we have Asiwaju Bola Ahmed Tinubu, who was also part of the people that complained against the situation. God decided to give him opportunity to come and lead the way. And we know if Asiwaju Bola Ahmed Tinubu is the president of this country and the national leader of the APC, these practices will never have a place. We know this thing because we are part of it. We know it. So why
how
should...
do you, sorry,
that's why we
there.
said...
So how do you actually then defend people who say that you have so much touts and thugs in Lagos, so if he becomes the president, it means it will now become nationwide? How do you
no. You see, people like, you know, no matter how you are excellent in doing things, you know, people will always want to find a bad way to paint it. These talks that people are associating with Asiwaju Bola Ahmed Tinubu, what was their life prior to him becoming the governor of Lagos State? They were criminals, rappers, gangsters, some of them even murderers, armed robbers, pickpockets, destroyers of the society. He came, and the people expect him, because we are coming from a military hangover, the expectation is that he should bring in police and military to start shooting them and killing them and destroying them. He said, no, they are also humans. Why can't they be transformed? I want to extend an olive hand to them. I will only do carrot and stick. I will bring carrots. If you come to eat and stay with me, we stay. If you refuse, I'll use my stick. And that's what he did. And suddenly, some of these people that we see as criminal, tout, and abandoned element of the society, condemned element of the society, he's able to transform them. Some of them find themselves in LASMA, working, earning responsible living, wearing uniform, and protecting the interests of the state and generating revenue for the state. And making sure that the state traffic is enhanced, improved, and also a lot of crimes that happen over traffic doesn't exist again.
I'm sure a lot of Nigerians will say, in fact, that's like more job for the boys, because they're even creating more mayhem.
No, I have a business in Lagos. My head office is still in Lagos. And I was in Lagos when LASMA was created. I know how it was. This man is able to transform the people that are otherwise condemned to a very productive part of the society. When he became the governor of Lagos State in 1999, the total revenue of Lagos State was 600 million. By the time he was leaving, it was 5 billion. How? The same touts that people expect him to go and shoot are the same people that are able to make Lagos a greater country.
That's the people that are collecting funds from NURTW. Is that what people you're talking about?
All of them,
or
all the institutions he created, the tax force he's created, the institution he created is what makes Lagos the great it is. So what Asiwaju is, he trusts in humanity. He believes in every evil in man that people see. There is an angle of human. There is a soft part of him that all what you need to do to transform is just to touch that soft part. And that's what he did. And these guys now become productive members of the society. Some of them have gone back to school. Their children have gone back to school. Their life have changed. They are transformed. They understood what is Lagos. They became strong Lagosian advocates. And then we are now saying that he has touts. If this is, to me, if this is touting, then let it overtake the entire country. Why? Because he's transforming people that we ordinarily condemn. And that is a very, very good progress that we recorded, in Lagos. And we want this kind of progress. What's wrong in him transforming the people from the southeast that are killing people and calling themselves IPOP and ESN? What is wrong with him transforming the Boko Haram that are killing people and then asking them to drop these guns and embrace the state and work for the state and build the state and protect the state? What is wrong with that? What is wrong in him transforming the bandits? There's nothing wrong with that. What is wrong in him transforming the Niger Delta militants? What is wrong in him about transforming these killers in the North Central here? He will do that. So to the best of my knowledge, this is even the kind of leader that Nigeria needs now. Someone that understood the value of human beings, of humanity. Yes.
All right, let's go on a quick break, and when we return, we'll continue where we stopped on these conversations. Stay tuned. We will be right back. This pool of support that they're gaining, that the Labour Party are gaining, are they intimidating your party in any way?
Yeah, they constitute what we call a strategic threat, not electoral threat. Based on all our estimation, Peter Obi cannot get more than 2.5 million votes in Nigeria. But they have their strategic threat. One, because they invested so much emotion in what they are doing. And one, somebody is too emotive and full of illusion. We will win, and then they lost. The reaction, the subsequent event, the aftermath, we have to contend that aftermath. We have to make sure that they understand that they can lose this election. In fact, they are losing this election. So if they lose, the world will not end. They should look for the next time. But for now, they have lost, and this is why their candidate is failing. That's why we are attacking them. Number two is that we want to contend them from within the area of their strength.
What is the area of their strength?
Is the southeast. The Peter Obi have more support from the southeast, predominantly because of tribal affiliations. Nothing more than that.
If you just joined us, this is The Conversation. We're reaching you from KAFTAN's television studio here in the nation's capital, Abuja. If you actually just joined us, you missed out on a whole lot, but then you can still join in the conversation. As our guest on the show today is Adamu Garba. He is the Deputy Director, Media, Tinubu Shetima, ICC, that's Independent Campaign Council. All right, before we went on that break, we've actually touched on a lot of things. But then, I hate to use the word when you go to saner or advanced countries or saner climes. But then, if you look at the US, a Democrat stays true to his party regardless of whatever wind of doctrine that is thrown at him or her, because he or she believes in the ideologies of their party, same as the Republican. So why do Nigerian politicians enjoy jumping shift at the slightest provocations or excuse? Why can't we adopt such mentality or ideology?
It's one of the reasons why we love APC. If you notice, even when I left angrily that time for just 3 weeks, let me call it maybe a kind of sojourn. I just jumped after 3 weeks and come back. I went to Young Progressives Party. That Progressives is the main kind of emphasis. From All Progressive Congress to Young Progressive Party, and then I come back to All Progressives. I am a progressive conservative. So I believe in the idea of progressivism with order. And that's my core ideology. And that's the ideology of Asiwaju Bola Ahmed Tinubu. Nationalism, number one. Progressivism, number two. Order and stability, number three. That is the core. And major members of the APC, especially the senior class, the senior citizens within the APC, understood this thing very, very well. And that's why they are working hard to inject these values in all the younger members of the APC. That's why today in APC we have student forum, APCDs, APCDs. All of it is anchored around this thing. There must be progressive society in a conservative order, and there also must be a national interest above any other international or personal interest. And there will be central government against a distributed, scattered, disorderly society. So these are the things. So people like us in the APC, we really, really believe in the ideology. PDP ideology, we all know what it is, their ideology. They just want to share money, nothing more. If you look at their presidential aspirant, Atiku Abubakar, all his campaigns is that you want to sell everything in Nigeria. Everything. Me, I think, maybe if he get to that seat, he might even sell a Sorok villa, perhaps to himself, because it's about selling, about formula of sharing of national cake. Nothing. That's PDP for you. So when you come back to Labour Party, it's just a one-man and individualist movement. It's just a movement of
is that what
people
you
that
see
are frustrated. That's it now. It's just a movement of people that are frustrated and they feel like they can use politics to express their anger, since attention has not been given more to their own kind of things that they do online. So they find a candidate who enjoy the show. A bit of you enjoy the celebration. So you move around and, hey, hype them, and that's it. After the election, I'm sure that will now dissipate into the thin air. So when you go back to NNPP of Congo, so it's just a kind of a predominantly an egotistical movement. There is no any ideology there.
And so when someone comes to you and tells you Emilokon, it doesn't make any sense to you?
It makes a lot of sense. Do you know what is the meaning of Emilokon?
It means it is my turn.
No, Asiwaju is not an individual. He's an institution.
But that's what Emilokon means.
No, he's an institution. When Asiwaju say me, he's talking all of us that are his core supporters. We see ourselves in him. So that me that you see as Asiwaju, we see it as talking all on behalf of us.
All of you APC, not Nigeria.
Yeah, of course.
Generally.
Yes, it's not the wrong thing. That's why we're contesting. That's why there are other aspirants. We can't own it until we fight to win. But before we can fight to win, we must organize ourselves in our ranks, define our boundaries, so we can face the competitor and defeat him. That's what it is. So the Emilokon is like a command. All of you lying here, we have somebody we need to face. We have to go and face them. The Emilokon won us the primary election and is going to win us the presidency. Wait and see. Why? Because we have a central command to all line up for defeating a competitor. And we're defeating PDP hands down. Labour Party does not even exist. It's isolated only to the southeast. Even the south-south, we are completely dismantling all their structures in the south-south. In the southwest, they are gone. In the entire north, they have been dried up. So now if you come back to NMPP of Konkoso, it's a party, Kano party. And even in Kano, he's losing election. He's losing. Because the candidate we have in Kano is beating his own candidate. So the Emilokon command is active. It's working. It's giving us a win. So it's not a bad deal at all.
So you actually think that it's giving you a win? Because a lot of people will tell you that if you could predict a winner for Nigeria's election in previous years, 2023 election is something different because you might not be able to predict the right one. No. Now, let's see, aside from that now, you have all of these discrepancies, all of these controversies in your party, and then you still have your party statesmen, your party stalwarts who are against your party party men. And then a lot of Nigerians will say, isn't this kingdom against kingdom? How would they stand?
On how?
If we start to talk about the fuel scarcity, if we start to talk about the controversial cash redesign.
The people that are against the party are not even party members. Most of them are just employees of government.
The state governor of Kogi State is a member of your party.
He's a member of my party. That's why I said he's a party member, but he's not against the policy. He's against the policy. The lunar design, all of us are against the policy. Even this morning, I did a whole thread, indicating the complexities, the damages that this Naira redesign may bring to the entire country.
The same Naira redesign that came from your party. The policy is from your party.
There is a difference between a government and a party. That was a government. And Emefiele, although he has aspired to be the president of our party under the APC, Then he bought the form. Of course, he denied it. He said he didn't buy the form. That's why he didn't participate in the primary election. But he's not a politician. He's an employee of government. So government and party are two different things entirely. A policy designed, very wonderfully crafted policy was there. But the implementation was wrong. It was faulty. It was untimely. So the best solution is withdraw it, redesign the whole structure of implementation and come back again. But you hold the entire country to jugular on a policy that doesn't work. You go to bank, they don't have money. Your own money, they say they will not collect. Your money in the bank, they say they will not give you. If you say give me 100,000, they say we have only 20,000 naira for you. So what is that? Does that show any common sense? It's not working. So if it is not working, have longer time to make it work. We understand that it is very important in Nigeria, that now we should move into digital banking system. Why? Because the whole world is going into central bank digital currency. So it's good for Nigeria to be one of the first Africans to have a CBDC arrangement. But we need time, because there are so many people in the villages, in the rural areas that don't even have access to banking system in Nigeria. And statistics have shown that we have only 9% of the people using digital banking system. So how are we going to just force people within 90 days to be digital? What about people that are using torchlight phones? So this is what it is. So this shows you the real spirit of APC, progressivism. If we don't agree, even if it is against us, we'll talk.
Okay, so it's actually the reason why your presidential candidate, Senator Bola Ahmed Tinubu, actually said at some point that, and even some of your party men accused your party and saying that I recall he also accused the president that they are working against his political and presidential ambition, and they're trying to sabotage his effort of becoming the next president. Like the Yoruba people will say, the insect that eats the vegetable is inside the vegetable. So is that the reason why he is also saying that your party people are working against him?
No.
Including the president.
The president is 1001% behind Asiwaju Bola Ahmed Tinubu. The president was in Imo State yesterday, raising Asiwaju and asking Imo citizens to vote for Asiwaju, as he was in Yola, as he was in Yobe, as he was in Kebbi, in Sokoto, as he was in so many other states, in Nasarawa. He was everywhere campaigning for Asiwaju.
But it's the same president that knows about this cash redesign and cash swap.
No. You see, the problem is that there is difference between government and the party. And for government policy to come about, there are a lot of meetings, committees, reviews, creation of framework, procedure, bureaucracy, before a policy can now get a go to implement. The policy implementers gave the president all assurances he needed that once they press the button to implement this policy, everything will just work well. And he asked all the questions and they check all the boxes. How do you expect him not to say to proceed?
Are you saying that he was pushed into?
Yes, no, not really pushed into. He asked questions and they tell him, yes, this year everything can work, everything, yes. He now said go, and they went ahead and it didn't work. So that's why the president said, I can't understand. Come, Mr. CBN Governor, come, Attorney General, sit here, what's happening? Governors, why are you? All of you come here, let's sit down and talk. Why, you said the policy can work now, why didn't it work? Mr. Governor explains his situations. The governors explain their plight of their voters because they are voted into office. MFLO was not voted for in the office. He was nominated, by the party. So when you look at this kind of back and forth, it now becomes clear that the policy is not working. So the president said, in this case, let me even hear the highest advisory council of the country. What is their motive? What do they think about it? He now invited the Council of State. And it was decided that this policy, Emefiele's CBN, need to print enough money to pump into the economy, or they should recirculate back the money they collected, which is the old currency. That was the decision of the highest advisory council of the country. And the president, under his chairmanship, issued a statement that this is the situation. So to roll back what has been built up over time usually also takes some time. You can't just tear the papers and throw them away. Even though the Central Bank of Nigeria still says that the old Naira notes remains a legal tender. Yes, that is why we are saying it is wrong, because the Supreme Court clearly stated that it is wrong, that we should stay action on execution pending hearing today. But again, I believe the CBN claim is that the suspension that was issued by the CBN, by the Supreme Court, does not carry them along, so they are not party to the suit. That's why they are adhering to their initial agreement. All in line with the law. All of them are, according to them, in line with the law. We as politicians are looking at the plight of the ordinary people because they are the ones that are trusting them with votes, so we don't want anything to harm them, no matter what it is. But here, the CBN is looking at their own laws, while the Supreme Court is looking at the general constitution of the country, and the politicians are looking at the plight of the people.
So how are you sure this will not affect your election or coming again?
It will not. Why? Because Nigerians, initially, I work in the grassroots campaign council, so I know what's happening in the grassroots. And I work in the media, so I have information about a lot of happenings. And I'm telling you that at the beginning, we were insulted, jailed and mocked and attacked by the people on the grassroots, that our party is trying to put them in difficulty. But then, within the APC, our governor started speaking. His Excellency Nasir El-Rufai came out clearly and condemned the policy. And then you now have people like Governor Ganduje, people like Yahya Bello, Governor of Kogi State, people like Governor Bello Mutawale of Zamfara State. All of them are coming. People like Dapo Abiodun, people like Ben Ayade, all of them are coming and saying, no, this, we don't agree. So they now said, okay, at least these governors are talking for us. At least they are still with us. And then the policy now goes down. So now everyone knows that the generality of Nigerians know that the problem is coming from the central bank, and I don't want to blame the central bank themselves because they are governed by the law. So the whole thing is around the bureaucracy that will soon be addressed.
Okay. Like you said, there's government and there's political party.
Yes.
So I had a chat with one of your former party members, Nuruddin Alihu Amanyero, and he said, who said actually that he was never interested in politics, but then because he was talked into by friends to go into politics, and then he asked, and you also, he talked to you, and then you asked him to give it a shot, and then because of people like you, he decided to look into it, and he went in only for you to opt out of this almost at the same moment when you spoke good about his the party and all of that. And then, according to him, he says up until now, he doesn't understand why you decided to leave the party. So maybe you can use this opportunity to tell him and many other Nigerians who believed in you and why, and your movement at the time, why you spoke so ill of a party, and then in the morning you decide to go dine and wine with the same party, and then at night you leave your followers high and dry. Because I remember he said a particular word, they tell you, let's do something, let's not do something, but at the back they are doing something.
Yeah, you see, Nuruddin came late to the party. I think he met me for the first time in 2021, I guess. And by then, I had been in APC since 2014. So you can see the journey I have invested in the APC. So by the time he came into the movement, we were together in APC. The time that we started involving into strategic decisions makings together was when we had this particular problem in early 2022. When we noticed that the party is making some arrangement that might not suit us. So his constituency have a very goodwill message for him because he's a very nice guy and he always stood for his people. And because of that, joining YPP, they were now asking me, should I bring some other people? I asked, will you want to short? They say, yeah. So many of them. In fact, some people pick state assembly forms. Some people, not only him, another person again that day that we picked the Federal House of Representatives from, another person to pick from Borno. So we were all together there. And they were interested, And eventually when my party recovered from what I believe is wrong, I will be not human to continue to stay in a strange environment when my house is put in order. It's like a case whereby you have a problem with your wife and then you now went to a mistress. And suddenly that issue you are complaining with your wife, and that she has now reformed and changed, and you are sure she does. So you come back to her, not to keep staying in a strange environment with your mistress. So this is the kind of thing I will use to explain. So I called them and explained to them the situation then, this is it. But I encourage him to continue to do what he's doing, and he's still doing it. And I keep tab in his campaign because he comes from Adamu State, my state, a constituency in Mayo Belwa, Jadaganye Tongo, and he's doing excellently well. And so many of my supporters that are there are still supporting him. I say it's not a problem. It's a choice. It's politics. Me, I'm doing APC. And my dream is for APC to win the whole of Adamu State. But again, that will not stop me from supporting a friend who is aspiring in a different political party. So, and he's doing well, you know. And to the best of my knowledge, I'm sure by now he must have gathered a lot of experience. And he could win the election based on what I'm hearing. So if this is the case, if he eventually won, I believe it's a plus. Even if he didn't win, it's a plus. At least he knew his people, he interacted with his people, he connected with his people, he participated in politics, and he has built a ground that nobody else have done within our own mates. So to me, it's a very big plus. And I consider it a credit to me that someone like him, who never was interested in politics, decided to participate in politics, and then reach the point where he is. It's a very, very good plus for the future of Nigeria. And I believe, and in addition to so many other young people that have participated, some of them actually dropped and came back. I think only 2 of them remained. One, still from Adamu State in one local government, aspiring for state assembly, and him, you know. And I believe the other guy that remained was because of him, because they are all within the same constituency. But all over the country, all YPP members that picked form on my behalf went back to APC. Because we've been in this movement for so long. We were together. I told you we ran this campaign in 2019. So we were together since 2017 when I started aspiring to be the president of Nigeria. So we are all together, all of us now in the APC. But Nuruddin, I think, is doing an excellent job. I think it's a great plus to our democracy. After this election, we'll bring him back to APC. 100%.
Interesting.
Yes.
All right. So a lot of people have actually said that you just prefer to vent on social media, Twitter, to be precise, that you just prefer to call names, shade a lot of people, and then yet he calls the obedience. I don't want to put the name that they put here. So that they call them all sort of names, but then it is more like tomato, same difference.
Yeah, you see, the names I call them obediots and co. They've done worse to me. They've done worse to my party. They call my principal, drug this thief, this, that. What do you expect? It's a politics. So, and in politics, it's a gladiatorial contest. So in a gladiatorial contest, you get into the box and also box any other person that box you in an idea. It's an ideological contest. So that's what happened. And particularly me, they published my BVN, not my BVN, the BVN that is associated with me when I was working in a certain company, published my phone number, attacked me all over. Then I went back and said that me who has 2 wives and 8 children, that I'm a gay, you know, concocted a story, you know, trended it all over. As at yesterday, they were trending that I changed party. They dug out that my old video of me and said that I have moved to Labour Party. Some of them in the north that said I moved to Atiku Abubakar PDP. Some of them in the south that said that I moved to Labour Party. So this is the whole thing. So, and I don't really take it deep because it's politics. For God's sake, it's like you are supporting Man U. I am supporting Chelsea. We were supporting them. Chelsea won the election. Man U lost the football game, a match, and Man U lost. What is there? We continue our lives.
But maybe if you don't see it as anything as a politician, what if the Nigerian public see it as something? They see it as hitting the polity.
No.
Throwing all of these jabs.
No, you have to do that. It is the time. In the next few months, it will not exist anymore. It's just the time. So in the next few months, it won't exist again. It won't exist. So it is just the time. We have to give them the show. We have to give Nigerians political show. And we're giving them the showmanship very well.
If you say you're giving them the showmanship, now with the mammoth crowd generated by this same obedience that you insult, a lot of people say that APC feels threatened, that and that's the reason why they always have all these incessant attacks on them, especially those wearing the branded T-shirts. That's their party's branded T-shirts. And I recall that you were one of those who slighted and bashed the party back in the days, especially on social media and even up until now. So does this actually pull this pool of support that they're gaining, that the Labour Party are gaining? Are they intimidating your party in any way?
Yeah, they constitute what we call a strategic threat, not electoral threat. Based on all our estimation, Peter Obi cannot get more than 2.5 million votes in Nigeria. But they have their strategic threat. One, because they invested so much emotion in what they are doing. And one, somebody is too emotive and full of illusion. We will win, and then they lost. The reaction, the subsequent event, the aftermath, we have to contend that aftermath. We have to make sure that they understand that they can lose this election. In fact, they are losing this election. So if they lose, the world will not end. They should look for the next time. But for now, they have lost, and this is why their candidate is failing. That's why we are attacking them. Number two is that we want to contend them from within the area of their strength.
What is the area of their strength?
Is the Southeast. The Peter Obi have more support from the Southeast, predominantly because of tribal affiliations, nothing more than that. So because of that, we want to make sure that they do not encroach into other regions that will affect our votes. We don't want them in the South-South. We want to win the South-South. We don't want them in the Southwest completely. We don't want them in the North. We want them to just remain in that region. Even in Southeast region, we are winning 2 states, possibly. Don't forget, Imo is APC. Ebonyi is APC. The 2 other states that are there, Enugu and Abia, are PDP states where we have good understanding with these governors because of G5. Again, Soludo is our man. We like him. We like Abga because of Soludo in Anambra State, Peter Obi State. And he came out clearly to tell the obedience, the truth about the situation of their candidate, that they are going into illusion. Although they've insulted him, but they will come back and say that this man is a prophet.
So are you saying that you're capitalizing on all of that, especially with the G5?
Yes, we're capitalizing on the G5. We're capitalizing on everything. So when you look at it, we want to make sure that the obedience are isolated where they have their strength. Number one place where they have strength, the constituency where they dominate is Twitter. So they should remain.
So doesn't that change your mentality, saying that don't underestimate the small moves that you make, especially on social media, with this mammoth crowd that they pull out?
That is why we are on them, even on the social environment. I told you that their biggest constituency is Twitter. They will go and trend on Twitter. That's what they like. Most of them don't even know their polling units. Most of them don't even know their polling units. They cannot even vote. Most of them collected their voters card just to show on the TV.
But did you see the crowd in Lagos?
I saw.
Have you seen those crowds? Are they still social media?
Let me tell you what Peter Obi did. You see, this is why we don't like his campaign, because it's too divisive. The people of the Southeast, the Igbo people, are part and principal stakeholders of Lagos State. So you don't divide them with the established Lagos State, especially the establishment of the Lagos political dynasty. You don't divide them. But what he did was, when he landed in Lagos, he went to the part where Igbo were dominated. That's what he did, just to show this kind of division. Very divisive kind of person. And then trying to create this kind of dichotomy between the Yorubas in Lagos and the Igbo-dominated areas of Lagos. And that's bad. Similar to what he did in the North. He would go to Christian-dominated areas in the North, and campaign. When he came to Adamu State by State, he didn't campaign in the state capital. He went only to Mubi, where the Christians are dominated, and then moved to another place in Numan, where Christians. He's a very divisive kind of personality, and that is going to hurt ordinary, responsible Igbo citizens that are doing legitimate businesses in Lagos.
All right.
It's not good. So that's where he got the crowd. He didn't go to, when he went to TBS, Tafawa Balewa Square, it was a quarter. The entire place is full. We used drone to capture everything. There was nobody in TBS because that's the center of Lagos. But he went towards Ojo, local government, towards Alaba International Market, and then tried to create sensation. And that sensationalization is very bad for the Labour Party, because we believe Igbos are major developers of Nigeria. They are major stakeholders of Nigeria. They are people that have invested sweat and blood in the making of this country. Don't divide them with other Nigerians. But Peter Obi is doing that. And that's bad.
Before we let you go, because our time is fast spent, when you actually opted out of the presidential race, I recall a statement that you made, and it quotes, "To those of you who are on the ballots of various political parties, you can count on my support. I am and I will always be there for you, all in the interest of moving Nigeria forward. We will work together for the success. I will be reaching out to you on your progress to render my support. I urge you also to reach out to me whenever you need my attention." Have you, actually, 2 questions I'm going to ask you. Have you actually been keeping to these words, or is just the support for your preferred candidates? That's one on the side. And then secondly, I've also seen you call this obedience lots of names, and then you tweeted, and then there's a recent one that you tweeted. You said the presidential candidate of Atiku Abubakar is playing the northern card, while the counterpart from the new Nigeria political People's Party, that's NNPP, Rabiu Kwakwanso, is playing the northwest card. You also accused the Labour Party LP presidential candidate, that's Peter Obi, of playing the indigenous people of Biafra IPOB agenda, and then said APC presidential candidate Bola Ahmed Tinubu is playing the national card. Are you still being supportive of other political parties, or it just doesn't matter? It is just my preferred
At this
candidate?
stage, it doesn't matter. At this stage, it doesn't matter. There was a stage when I was supporting them. I would advise them.
Oh, so you rescind
Yes.
on that decision?
Of course, that is not the decision of the decision. You have a line that you have to draw. I told you, in politics, it's a gladiatorial context or a football match. You can't be in Man U and I'm in Chelsea, and because we had agreement that when we come and I will allow you to defeat me, and then you now even respect me. That means I don't have value. So the biggest value I have is to keep my promises. I have a title, I have a job to do, and then my job is to deliver my party. But prior to that time, as at the time I published this, I was very much close to them. And I just told you that I still have a very good will, message, and wishes for Nuruddin Hamanyoro Nyako, even though he's not in my party. So, and we have been speaking, I am always updated about his activities in his domain. So you need to understand that. So we are doing our best, and most of the younger people, I told you that they all came back to APC. They are together with me. So we are doing the same thing. Some of them I reach out to them, some of them have reached out to me. So that has been happening. And on the issue of the last issue you asked, that analysis was the most precise analysis. I think he's playing Northern card because you know that the vote he got in 2019 that came from the South were predominantly Peter Obi's vote. And Peter Obi has taken away his votes. So because of that, he's trying to play Northern card. Very desperate card. It's not going to work. Then Konkoso, of course, we know he's trying to play the Northwestern card because he wants to surround and get Kanu. That's also a very difficult task for him. You know, and when you look at Peter Obi, I just told you here very clearly that we believe in the Igbos, and we believe they are part and parcel of Nigeria's development. We won't allow any candidate to divide Nigeria, like to create a dichotomy between the Igbo people and Nigerians. The only people that are licensed to do that by themselves, they license themselves to do that, are the IPOP. So if he's doing that, to me, he's an IPOP guy. So he's playing their card, but not the general Igbo card. So I'm trying to clearly isolate the 90% of the Igbos that don't agree with IPOP.
Are you calling Peter Obi an IPOP?
I think he is. That's what it is. Because that card is playing. To me, it has no difference between an IPOP member. Because what you can't be dividing, you can't be a consensus. Instead of you to talk about uniting the country, wherever you go, you draw a line. No, that is not a good candidate for Nigeria. You should reach across the Niger. You should have friends all over the country, but none. When Peter Obi was a governor, he was the most isolated governor in Nigeria. He doesn't even visit the other governors. He doesn't care. You know, and now IPOP are coming. Every time they ask him on interview, condemn IPOP, he will not.
Let me ask you one last question before we leave. If Senator Asiwaju Bola Ahmed Tinubu doesn't win this election with his running mate Shetima, would you actually accept this defeat and then shake hands with whoever becomes the next president? Asiwaju
Bola Ahmed Tinubu will win the election. Annabelle. Tinubu is the next president of the Federal Republic of Nigeria. He will win. Count this down. I'm telling you, you can write this down. The next time we sit here, after 25th of February, I will be telling you that we have a president-elect, and that president-elect is Asiwaju Bola Ahmed Tinubu with his vice, distinguished Senator Kashim Shettima, by the special grace of God.
Thank you so much, Adamu Garba, for this time. It's been a wonderful time having this discussion with you.
Thank you very much, Annabelle, for having me.
Awesome. All right, viewers, that's where we end this conversation. We have been chatting with Adamu Garba. He is the Deputy Director, Media, and Tinubu Shettima Independent Campaign Council. In the words of Mark Twain, an American writer, humorist, entrepreneur, publisher, and lecturer, he once said, if you collect 100 black ants and 100 fire ants and put them in a jar, nothing will happen. But if you take the jar, shake it violently, and leave it on the table, the ants will start killing each other. red believes the black is the enemy, while the black believes that the red is the enemy, when the real enemy is the person who shook the jar. The same is true in a society. Men versus women, black versus white, faith versus science, young versus old, the elite of bourgeoisie versus the proletariat, and so on. So dear Nigerians, as we approach the ballot and you have the mindset of going there to cause violence, or you have been sponsored to cause violence, thereby disrupting the smooth flow of the elections, I leave you with this food for thought. Before we start fighting ourselves, we must first ask ourselves, who shook the jar? I'm Annabelle Oji. I'll see you next time. And please vote wisely and rightly. God bless you and yours. God bless the Federal Republic of Nigeria.